On one hand, it's very fun watching essentially Pokemon but Ghost Hunting Edition. But on the other hand, god damn, that's a no from me. Like, it's bad enough when you essentially challenge a lolicon god, and basically the next day is admitting that, like, had he actually done anything different, we all would have been dead. But lucky for us, he has a certain way of doing things. The idea that that's bad enough, but then you see that, like, the entire room gets massacred, and literally, that's not an exaggeration, massacred. One less standing, the graduate, the one from the ED actually, and a cool little bear design, but immediately tries to kill everyone in the house. And then the fact that, like, what do? Literally almost die from a god, almost die from the graduate. The next day, what do? Well, Yayoi takes us out. Oh, you're treating me to whatever I want? I'm thinking ice cream, I'm thinking a toy or a video. No, she drives us to an S rank so we can get killed again. And I'm like, oh. Dark Gathering never change, but thank God I am not Katero. I do not envy this fool. Full live reaction though to episode 10 of Dark Gathering, available on my Patreon. If you would like to see me just get shook in real time and mentally snap, like, this show messes with me. It hits every little sweet spot of horror, and I am so happy we're not approaching the finish line. Like, even though I think most of the time 2 cores are not healthy because production wears thin and it's just not good for animators in general, there's certain shows that you're so thankful that you're not gonna have to wonder, are we getting a season 2? Because goddamn, we got at least 2 cores of this bad boy, and that's all I need to hear. So a lot happens in terms of the whole god plotline. Like, I mean, it's creepy, it's disturbing when things are starting to possess or at least visually look like it. But the idea that, you know, literally walking into that room, just blood everywhere. The walls, the floor, there's heads of all the stuffed animals ripped apart because of, like, literally, you're massacring these spirits. And the idea of just dragging us out and coming back in and just seeing that head stand there and just, like, look at you. And I'm like, okay, you know, on one hand, we probably have a powerful spirit, so I guess that's a bonus. But the fact that it immediately tries calling, and it's like, if you answer the phone, you'll die. And then what happens? We see our girl walk up like, hey, what's going on? And honestly, I'll give her some major props. She held off on answering that phone a lot longer than I think anyone would. It probably helps because she probably was naturally confused, like, okay, you guys are calling me, but I'm staring right at you, so I don't need to pick it up to know where you are. But also, there's probably a bit of a hunch being like, that's a little weird that the door slams and you're calling, so I should probably hold off from pressing that answer. Like, I think those types of moments are very easy to write in a way that you're like, okay, the only reason we're lingering on pressing that answer is because of plot convenience. But it's like, she probably would have answered it if she was walking up the stairs and didn't see them, like, oh, I don't know where they are, so I'll answer the phone. But when you see them standing right there and, like, clearly something's going on, it makes sense. And when she was about to actually answer it, it's because a lot of weird shit's happening and you can't really hear them anymore, so it makes a lot of sense. And that's kind of like the brilliance of the horror of this show, is that it never really feels like things happen conveniently or like they're just here to be jump scare moments. The actual world of this show is legitimately terrifying, and the almost hierarchy of, like, okay, we had a whole room full of spirits and stuffed animals. There was kind of like this balance, like when new spirits come in, yeah, there's kind of a struggle, there may be fighting, but at the end of the day, they live there in harmony more or less. But once the balance is disrupted, only one gets to survive, and that becomes the graduate. And she did threaten this god, right? She said that, like, these aren't even my most powerful spirits. And in the conversation afterwards, we learned that not only has she fought a god before, and it needed 3 graduates in order to just kill it, if we want to capture a god, we're probably going to need about 6. And I'm thinking, well, we got 1 graduate. Yeah, this is going to be a long journey. But by the end of that conversation, it seems like we got 5 that we can work with. So just 1 more, and honestly, we're not too bad, all things considered. But I think the fear of being like, okay, well, we need to rebuild our army in some way, especially just to naturally protect us. But at the same time, it's like, how do you continue on? Like, something like that should, like, petrify most people. That should be some trauma intensifying. Well, they go to the apartment the next day, they set up a little maze to naturally navigate the spirits around. It's a good thing you're not telling the girl that, hey, like, when you go to bed, just know in this room, yeah, there's a severed head being ate. Yeah, we don't need to know that. If I was living in a place that I knew was haunted, if someone deadass told me that this thing was there getting munched on, I'm moving out. There ain't no way I'm staying there. Bless Keitaro though, man, he had balls of steel to not say what he saw there. But I do like the idea of almost like this map. And this really is where it kind of comes down to feeling like Pokemon, right? Like you're going across Kanto or Johto or whatever, and you're collecting the gym badges, you're catching your Pokemon. That's kind of what it is. It's like you're catching these spirits, you're crafting your army, so not only can you capture and kill or get revenge to the spirit, that womb that took the mother, at the same time, you need to capture this god, because if you can capture a god, you got a damn good chance at probably defeating the big bad that ruined your life, sort of a thing. And overall, they did have some pretty sweet and heartwarming moments before obviously ripping off the band-aid and throwing our boy back into the thick of it. Because basically the way the relationship between Yayoi as well as Keitaro was, is it's like he's very good bait, he naturally attracts spirits, and she's the hunter. It was a mutual agreement, it works out for both of them. But during that bike ride, we get to see her just be genuine, because my idea and how I interpreted these two was that you have the student-teacher relationship, of course, and obviously he forces her to study, which she doesn't like. But at the end of the day, it almost feels like a brother and sister bond. And I like how during that bike ride, you didn't see her get flustered or embarrassed like, ooh, this older boy. No, like there was a genuine respect that you're not just bait, you're a partner. And the fact that you stood up to a god despite having no ways to really defend me, the fact that I'm not in this alone has this mutual respect. There's not this like weird romance chemistry with this little girl. No, it's she lost her family, but it feels like she's regained one all at the same time. It's not replacing, it's just there's new experiences for her there. And while yes, they do have fun with the whole like, oh, I'll give you anything you want, and then of course she bike rides to a location she didn't, mark on the map because she wanted to surprise. It's like, Yayoi, never change, man. Like, you are the scariest character because on one hand, you can deadass look at a god and know that the god could kill you in this moment if it didn't do things a certain way and say, bitch, please come at me. This isn't even my final form, more or less. It's insane, and I'm very interested to see what they do with the horror next week because we really don't have any idea of what it is they're gonna fight. We know it's S rank. The location mentioned a castle, so maybe a knight of some sort, but either way, everything we've seen has been just terrifying, creepy, unnerving, and thrilling, and that's what I really love about this show. Now, those are my feelings. You know I've been loving this show. It creeps me the hell out, and just when I think it can't get any worse, it somehow finds a way to get worse, but let me know what you thought of this week's episode of Dark Gathering down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. And like I mentioned, we do have a full live reaction available on my Patreon. And while you're there, you'll also get a video shout out. So today we have Gareth Green, G-Bean, Jeff, GG78CC, and Ginger King. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.